Welcome to Hey Hey 5 and 5. I'm Larry Levin, publisher and CEO of the St. Louis Jewish Light, and we're here this time with my friend Rabbi Daniel Plotkin of B'nai El Congregation, who's also a former trustee of the St. Louis Jewish Light. Welcome.
Thank you.
And thanks for visiting with us. Well, I say shalom in the hello, goodbye, and peace meetings today because you'll be leaving us here in St. Louis for different parts. So tell us about where you're going and what you'll be doing.
Well, we are heading east, and I know the slogan of St. Louis is Go West, Young Man, but we're not following that advice. We're moving to Baltimore, Maryland, the Pikesville area, where I'll be working for Beth Shalom Congregation in Columbia, Maryland. And Beth Shalom Congregation is a conservative congregation affiliated with the USCJ, and I will be serving them in the role of Director of Education, running their religious school program for approximately 175 students.
It's wonderful. Now, you've spent a lot of time in your career in both the Midwest and the South, and now you're heading to the East Coast in Maryland, where your wife is from. So is that a regional difference you think is significant in how people relate to you, or is the work simply the work no matter where you go?
Well, I think there'll be two major differences for me. One is the regional difference. There is definitely a difference between both Jewish and general culture in the East versus the Midwest and South. Going out east, it's a little bit of a different culture, much higher percentage of Jews as a part of the population, even in a smaller city like Columbia, but it serves as a bedroom community in many ways for Washington, D.C. and Baltimore. So that will be a little bit different, and also the role I'll be taking will be different as well. I've spent the past 9 years, first in Houston and then here, as the rabbi of a congregation. And that's very different than coming as a rabbi, but serving in the role of Director of Education. Absolutely. I won't be involved in the life cycle. I won't be involved regularly in leading liturgy for the general congregation, so it will be a very different role that I'll play.
On your website, which people certainly can access if they go online, you talk a lot about your rabbinical vision and how you've executed that vision during your tenure here at B'nai El. And talk a little about how that vision has evolved, and is it different from where you started, and how does it move forward in the education slot?
Well, to a certain extent, I've come back to where I began. When I was in high school and in college and thinking about rabbinic school, I wanted to go to rabbinic school so that I could become an educator of a community and really focus on education. Through my years of rabbinic school, I began to experience the pulpit rabbinate, to really enjoy a lot of the different aspects of the pulpit rabbinate, and the opportunity to develop my leadership skills as a pulpit rabbi. And having had time to do that, I'm ready to return to what really led me to the rabbinate, where my real strengths lie, and that's in the area of education, focusing on children but working with adults as well.
You are part of a congregation here that is not nearly as big as, say, 3 or 4 of the sizable ones here, or certainly some of them out east. Do you see a model by which the synagogues the size of B'nai El can remain solvent and meaningful in the long run, or do you think merger or dissolution is kind of a fait accompli for a lot of the smaller congregations?
Well, I think for smaller congregations that there are definitely opportunities to remain viable. To a large extent, there is that percentage of families that want the small congregation. They want to feel part of that community, that closeness with multiple generations and all through the congregation that you can only find at a small congregation. And while you can find different ways of community at large congregations too, it's still different. And furthermore, I feel there's a place for small congregations in St. Louis in particular, especially in serving the needs of senior citizens and empty nesters who really want to remain connected but no longer have children in town, don't necessarily have their grandchildren in town. And the smaller congregations can serve for them as a place where they can really connect with each other, connect with the rabbi, the staff of the congregation.
Coming out of your 7-year relationship with B'nai El, I'm sure you'll miss the people,
Yes.
but are there things that are unique or different about B'nai El and that particular congregation that you'll miss?
Well, I think that sense of history, that B'nai El really has a sense of who it is, who it was, and who it strives to be. And that's all connected by its great history dating back to 1852. The rabbis that served B'nai El for so many years, in particular Rabbi Miller and Rabbi Klausner, are still talked about with such admiration by the older generation of the congregation. And I really miss that connection to such a long history that doesn't just include B'nai El's history, but is a vital connection to the history of St. Louis in general.
That's it for this time with Hey Hey 5 and 5. Till next time, take care.